Okay, very good. Welcome everyone to the Planning Committee meeting of Akron City Council. We're about to begin. We have no items that are up for public hearing today. However, we do have some items on our regular agenda that we'd like to address. The first one, authorizing conditional use to construct a discount store on the south side of North Case Avenue across from Bank Street. Mr. Antonucci, I saw him here. Yes. I would like to ask the committee if there's any questions reference this particular proposal. We have to separate those two over there. We have to separate you two, okay? All right, thank you. I'm asking if there's any questions from anyone of the committee members or anyone on council on this item. Yeah, sure. Mr. Lombardo, would you have a question on this? Pardon? Yes, sir. Yeah, it is the dog.
So my question, I'll ask Mr. Antonucci, may appear as a silly question, but please bear with me, okay? So the question is, what is the city's definition of a dollar store? At 1038 East Talmadge Avenue, there is a Dollar Tree. Some 780 feet away, there is Dollar Magic. And then another 750 feet away is Family Dollar. Mm-hmm. Now, the Family Dollar has since moved out, but for 2, maybe 3 years, there were 3 of those dollar stores there. So that's my question and my point with this issue.
Thank you, Mr. Lombardo. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Right. Well, that's sort of what we're getting at here with this, with the legislation that was passed late last year, was basically to look at how these are kind of condensed together. They're all kind of coming in together, and there's a lot of them close by each other, and this would pretty much scatter those out. So we have that distance requirement. Basically, what we have defined in the zoning code is a discount store. We don't say dollar store, because a discount store is essentially a store that sells a variety of inexpensive items, all or substantially, all of which are priced $5 or less, excluding a grocery store. So it's basically the pricing, and it's where there's not a lot of groceries sold in the store. That's sort of the definition that is the definition that we have in the zoning code.
One more question. So the ordinance came about just last year to try to scatter them out. So,
that's right.
So those 3 dollar stores on Talmadge Avenue are kind of like grandfathered.
That's correct.
Grandfathered.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, Ms. Connor? Thank you. Further questions or comments? Samples?
Thank you. My question to Mr. Antonucci, were letters sent out to the people in the neighborhood prior to it coming to the Planning Commission? I'm just trying to get a feel for what the residents are saying, not just based off of an ordinance, because I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the ordinance, because when I drive down Viodum and Copley Road, no one thought about an ordinance when they were popping them up and down Copley Road and Viodum, and they're everywhere. So I just want to know what those residents think, and because I haven't seen any opposition from them or them come down here, because usually when there's opposition, like when they're talking about building this gas station up at 6 Corners, we had a lot of residents who came down here and spoke either for or against it. So I haven't seen that. So I'm just wondering how big of a radius were letters sent out?
Yeah, we did send out notices to the neighborhood. I can share with you what that map looks like, but I don't have that right here at this point, but I can share that with you.
Any other questions or comments from anyone? Okay, very good. Ms. Connor?
Representatives from the neighborhood network were here previous
That was at
Okay,
Planning
good.
Commission.
Mr. Swirsky?
And those comments were? So they were opposing this?
Actually, I do have the document from that Planning Commission here.
Very good, thank you. Okay, very good. Mr. Clerk, if you could please, we'll share this with everyone, but make sure all council gets a copy of this, please.
I got a couple. Here, hey, Bob. I got a
Very
couple.
good. Any further questions or comments? Very good. We've heard from everyone. Is there a recommendation from the committee in reference to this item?
Well, I recommend disapproval of this project.
Okay. So you're recommending an adverse report?
I'm recommending an adverse report or disapproval, yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second for an adverse report? You can't. No. Okay, there's a second. All those in favor of an adverse report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay, very good. We'll ask for a roll call. Mr. Clerk, whenever you get to your seat.
Okay. Roll call, Fusco.
Aye.
Kamer's absent. Swirsky.
Aye.
Baylor. Sample.
Okay, very good. So this evening, we will recommend that out this evening to all council. I see the petitioners here. You're welcome to come this evening if you would like. It's at 7 o'clock. We'll ask all of council to vote on this particular item. Very good. With that, I'm inviting you back this evening at 7 o'clock. All of council will vote on the issue this evening at 7 o'clock. I'm inviting you back if you'd like to come back at 7 o'clock. Thank you. Very good. On that, we will now take time on the balance of the agenda, short of any questions or comments. We'll move into the new list of legislation. And the first item is number 2 under the new list of legislation, authorizing conditional use to establish a production kitchen and market at 462 Harvey.
That would be referred and advertised for public hearing.
Very good. Is there a recommendation to refer and advertise? Anybody? Okay, I'll recommend we refer and advertise. Is there a second? Second. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Thanks, guys. The next item is authorizing conditional use to construct an addition onto a commercial building at 80 Cole.
That too would be referred and advertised
Is
for
there a
public
recommendation for refer and advertise? Is there a
Second.
Very good. You guys are on it. All those in favor of referring and advertising signify by saying aye. The ayes do have it. 4, approving and confirming the appointment by the mayor of Gary Wyatt, Stephanie York, as members of the City Planning Commission, and Bronlyn Thurman as an alternate member, and declaring an emergency. Is there someone here? Ms.
Yes,
Sanders?
thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. These appointments today are to fill two vacancies that have recently come upon the commission. Teresa Carter stepped down from her position, and Ken Jones as well, who happened to move out of the city of Akron. So these 2 names are being brought forward to fill those slots. And then also, there are 2 alternate positions available according to the charter, and so we are filling one of those alternate positions as well. And you should have copies of these individuals' resumes. We'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Very good, thank you. Now, is there an alternate position still open, or is that filled?
Yes, so this is filling one of those alternate positions. We haven't filled the alternate positions for some number of years, but we thought that it was best practice to have a bench and make sure that commission's fully operating.
Without question. I know on Fridays or late Thursdays, they're probably making phone calls, making sure we get folks here. I do know that there happens to be a proposed member of this planning commission here this afternoon and would like to make a couple comments. And this is Stephanie York.
Hi,
Please,
everyone.
feel free.
I know most of you here, but not all, so I just wanted to come here and let you know that I'm very excited to be coming back to the city of Akron in this limited capacity to serve the citizens again. The city of Akron is always been my passion, will always be my passion, and its citizens, which I am one of, is, are at the forefront of my mind all the time. So I want to thank the mayor for putting my name forward and let you know that I am very excited to do this. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very excited that you've accepted this mission. And I know you'll be an asset to our planning commission, our planning agendas. Very good. Questions from anyone on the committee? Any council members? Questions? Mr. Saworski.
I recommend approval.
Okay, out ahead of it. Is there a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. The ayes have it. Very good. We will recommend suspension of the rules with a favorable report this evening at 7:05. Item number 5 is approving, the sale of city-owned properties to Hamilton DeSazier Jr. and Mary DeSazier and Douglas D. Fleming, and determining said properties are not needed for public use.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. This is proposed 2 single-family home lot sales. They both plan on constructing new homes down in our Hickory Street area.
Hickory Street area. Very good. More new construction is always good news. Questions or comments from the committee? Questions, comments? Very good. Anyone from council? Questions or comments? Mr. Swirsky.
This takes place in my ward. I support this happening and look forward to development happening there.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Swirsky. Is consent agenda okay?
That'd be fine. Consent,
Very
please.
good. So recommendation? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. 6 is under new legislation, and this is authorizing the Director of the Department of Planning and Urban Development to enter into contracts for transportation planning services in order to carry out the intent and purpose of programs under the Federal Consolidated Planning Grant for the fiscal year 2020 in order to further the Akron Metropolitan Area Transportation Studies goals and objectives of maintaining a cooperative, continuous, comprehensive framework for making transportation investment decisions in the Akron Metropolitan area.
Thank you, Councilman. That's all federal language there, but for those of you that don't know me, I'm Curtis Baker. I'm the director of AMATS, which happens to be covering Summit and Portage County and a little bit of Wayne. We do regional transportation planning throughout the area. We are lucky that Akron is our fiscal agent for what we do. And as part of our work program or the federal funds we receive, one of the things we're able to do is do planning grants for communities. These planning grants come at 100% federal funding to offer to our communities in Summit and Portage County. We're going to do 2 of them, $40,000 a piece. And what we're looking for is just authorization from council to allow us to enter into those contracts after we select competitively who those 2 communities and what those projects will be. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Baker. Questions or comments from any committee members? Okay, hearing none. Any council members? Questions, comments? AMATS has been a longtime partner to the city and other our adjoining communities. They've done an outstanding job in terms of partnering with us, and without their help, a lot of the stuff that we do couldn't get done without question. So with that, is consent okay on this?
Consent is fine. Thank you.
Cool.
Motion
Questions?
for consent.
Is there a second? All those in favor of consent, say aye. Ayes have it. Consent agenda it will be. Thank you, Mr. Baker. 7, authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into an agreement with Bounce Innovation Hub in order to further the continuing and future success of Bounce and to obtain certain exclusive benefits to the city of Akron.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. For those who don't know me, my name is Heather Roschek. I'm the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Advocate in the Mayor's Office. And yes, the Office of Integrated Development is requesting authorization for the mayor to enter into an agreement with Bounce Innovation Hub in order to further the continuing and future success of Bounce and to obtain exclusive benefits for the city of Akron. This would be a total of $475,000 commitment from the city over the course of 3 years, and that would roll out as $200,000 in 2020, $150,000 in 2021, and $125,000 in 2022. In exchange, the city will receive various perks from Bounce, including a co-working desk, open co-working memberships to be shared between the team, free meeting space, inclusion in networking events, logo and branding at Bounce events, and we are joining 6 other community partners in doing so.
Very good, thank you. Questions or comments from any committee members on this? All right, any questions? Any council members? Smovian?
I was just trying to read this quickly. I know you stated inclusion. Are there dollars earmarked for, because I know they are doing some initiatives in that area. Are there dollars earmarked for that line item?
I cannot speak to Bounce's budget at this time. I do have some information just on metrics in terms of improvements that they've made. I think in large part, in response to some of the concerns that were raised by council previously. As of right now, so at the end of 2019, their client companies, female and minority ownership, they are now at 50%, which is an increase of, I believe, 21% from 2018.
And I know they have one staff. I'm not sure if they have more. I forget his name. Is it Epps?
Ace Epps, yes.
I know he's there, and I know he's doing some initiatives. Are there plans to grow that staffing?
They already have, actually. So Ace was recently promoted to a leadership role at Bounce, and he has now at least 2 additional employees working with him on that programming.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Swirsky?
Yeah, I just want to commend you for your efforts to make sure that it is an inclusive enterprise. I also have to say, Ace Epps is pretty cool.
Well, his enthusiasm is awesome because he is very enthusiastic about what he does, and there's a lot of passion there. So
absolutely,
it's very good selection there. Any further questions or comments from anyone? Very good. Is consent agenda okay?
Yes.
Very good. Is there a recommendation?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Excuse me, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Number 8, authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee without the formality of publicly advertising for bids to enter into a contract or contracts with Apostolos Group Incorporated doing business as Tamarios for emergency services and materials associated with the vacation of the building at 146 South High, including relocation of city personnel and other city-owned facilities. Yes, sir, Mr. Becker.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, City Center building is is going to be rehabilitated into apartments as well as some office space by a developer out of Cleveland, Mr. Ed Asher. He has applied for some historic tax credits. In order for him to do that, the city had to vacate the building to make it at least 90% vacant for 2 years in order to help his tax credit point total. So when we did this in late 18, we started to relocate various personnel divisions and offices from City Center to Ocasek to City Hall, as well as out to water distribution and Triplet Boulevard. We had a contractor do this. They had to do various construction of walls and furniture and file cabinets and things throughout this building and even out at Triplet Boulevard. The departments that were moved were the fire chief, human resources, the water department, neighborhood assistance, AMATs, as well as multiple floors of file cabinets which went into this building. So this cost of this relocation and renovation was about $300,000. When we close on this project at the end of the year, we will get this money back from the developer when we provide him title to the building. And our anticipated schedule is to close on the project at the end of the year.
Very good. So that's the portion, I guess, within this legislation that we do need to highlight is the reimbursement upon closing of the sale, which ought to be at the end of this year, correct?
Correct.
Very good. Very good. And it was more than just relocating. It sounds like there's construction involved. It sounds like there was a considerable amount of departments that were relocated as well.
Yes.
And not just across the street, huh?
Yes, correct.
Okay, very good. Okay, questions from any committee members on this? Any questions?
Well,
Mr. Swirsky,
well,
I will recognize you.
you just kind of answered the question about reimbursement. So the number in the budget, the back here, 300,000,
Yes.
that is part of the that will be reimbursed? Is that
Yes,
what you're saying?
correct.
Okay.
Very good. Further questions from committee members? Ms. Amobian, did you have a question? I saw your hand up.
Just for clarification, now who owns City Center now?
The city of Akron.
The city
It is our
owns it.
building, yes.
Are we selling it to Tamaros?
Not to Tamarius, to Ed Asher, a developer from Cleveland. Tamarius was the contractor who did the renovation and the relocation of the departments for the city.
So the person from Cleveland is going to own the building, and Tamaros is going to do some work there?
He may, if the developer hires Tamarius to do that, correct.
So who's going to pay us back?
The developer, Mr. Asher.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions or comments? Very good. Seeing none. Wow, we have everyone's attention here. Very good. Consent agenda, okay.
Yes, please.
Motion for consent.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. The ayes have it. Very good. Nothing else to come before the committee. We're adjourned. Thank you.